everyone, this is Renu and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the most important thing which many English trainers have been telling you in order to get fluency in English. And that is start thinking in English. Start thinking in English. In today's video, I'm going to explain this particular aspect, how to start thinking in English in easiest way. I will be talking about most of the things which I practiced during my English learning journey. Alright, so make sure to watch this video till the very end. And if you find this video helpful, give this video a thumbs up. Now without further delay, let's get into the video. As many of you guys have been telling me in my comment section that Renu, your English is so simple and pretty much understandable. We can understand you completely. There is nothing wrong with your English. We can understand everything. And of course, you speak with confidence. So what do you think? How am I being able to explain myself by using some simple English vocabularies and of course with confidence? If you think that I make a choice between choosing easiest set of vocabulary or between choosing, difficult vocabularies. So if you think like that, I choose or I make choice, then you are wrong here. I really don't make a choice because really there is no choice actually. There is no choice. It is just the way I train my mind. It is just the way I train my mind to speak simple English so that everyone can understand me, to speak basic vocabularies which we all get to hear on regular basis so that person can understand me in easiest way. It is not going to be really difficult to understand whatever I'm trying to say. And of course, if I'm being comfortable with the way I explain, of course, I'm going to be confident while speaking in English, right? So it is just the way I train my mind to speak simple English. And this is the only reason you guys can understand me easily. Now, I train my mind from a very young age. When I started learning English, I started training my mind. Of course, whenever you are learning a language, initially we all are going to translate. Especially people who are not from English medium, as I was not. I was not from English medium, so of course I did it a lot. I used to translate some different scenarios, some different, sentences to explain my ideas. But I figured out sooner that translating is not a good option. Because if you just keep translating in your conversation, if you just think to, if you just take a pause to think, to translate a particular sentence, then you are taking a long pause and the person you are talking with can easily observe you that you are not comfortable with the language. You're not comfortable speaking in English, right? So translating is not a good choice. You must stop it if you really want to become fluent in English. Sooner I realized that if I'm just keep translating while speaking in English, I can never ever become fluent in English. So I started doing some different things, which I'm going to tell in this video step by step. Alright, so it is really important to stop translating if you want to become fluent in English. If you always keep translating, you are going to stuck, fumble, and forget vocabularies and some different things you are going to face, some different problems if you just choose translating. Alright, so make sure that you are doing something else. You are going to follow these all things which I'm going to tell you. So when I made a choice not to do translation, I thought that from today onwards, I will not translate anything, whether I'm going to keep quiet. Okay, so I started not to say anything by using translation, and I started consuming English content. In the form of audio, video, or reading, I started reading some books. At that point of time, I realized that yes, little by little, I'm starting thinking in English. I can think in English. And thinking in English is the only thing will help you to become fluent in English. Because you are not using translation. You are naturally speaking in English. You are trying to speak English naturally. Right? So make sure that you start thinking in English if you want to become fluent in English. When I chose this option that I'm not going to translate anything anymore, and I started surrounding myself with more and more English content. And little by little, I could see amazing changes in my speaking skills, in my English. And when I used to get time, when I had time, when I was learning English initially, there is nothing to do. I used to create some scenarios in my mind in English. For example, that if there is any function tomorrow and I'm about to go there tomorrow, then I must think today what I'm going to do there at that place. Going to meet some people, what I will be talking with those people, and some different, sentences I used to create. If I'm going to attend something, any party or any function, I used to create some different sentences before attending that function. It can be anything. I mean, if there is not any function, even I used to think just by imagination. Like if I'm presenting something in front of public, then what am I supposed to do in that situation? Like if I'm presenting something in public, what I will be talking. So some different scenarios. If I get time, I just start thinking in English in my mind only. You can also do the same thing if you have time and don't have anything to do. Just try to imagine some different scenarios, that if you get chance to meet your favorite hero, then what you will ask with that person and what you will do at that time, and some different scenarios. Just try to create some sentences. I used to create sentences to explain situation, around 15 to 20 sentences. You can also do the same. And of course, it all happened just because I used to consume English content. So make sure that you surround yourself with English content more and more, whether it's about reading, writing, listening, or speaking, whatever you like to do, so that it would be easier for you to explain your ideas in English. Because once you have that surrounding, eventually your mind become habitual. Your mind becomes habitual of speaking in English. You really don't need to put pressure in your head to explain and to remember vocabularies. You speak natural English. Alright, so make sure that you surround yourself with English content, so that eventually you start thinking English, and little by little you will start thinking in English. And of course, avoid translating. If you have been translating till now, then from today onwards, after watching this video, you must stop it. You must stop translating. This is not a good way to become fluent in English. You must speak naturally, and that is all possible if you surround yourself and if you make effort to speak in English, to think in English. Once you start thinking in English, it would be far easier for you to speak in English naturally. Okay, so make sure that you avoid translating and you start thinking in English little by little. You must have heard that there are four important aspects in English: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Speaking is the most important that we all want. We all want to become fluent in English, right? But sometimes we really don't, could focus on some different aspects which actually help us to become fluent in English, like reading, writing, and listening. Listening is the most important thing which all people say you to go with first, right? Listening. But I would say, yes, this is the important thing. You must go with listening first, but don't avoid writing and reading. Literally, don't avoid it. Writing and reading can actually help you. These two aspects can actually help you to become fluent. These all aspects help you to have a good connection with the language, deep connection with the language. And once you can understand everything in English, then to speak English would be super easy for you, right? When you read something, you understand that, and you don't translate in your mother tongue. If you're reading any article and you are thinking some further steps that what is going to happen, like let's say you are reading story and you are just trying to imagine what is going to happen next, but that would be in English. That would be in English, not in Hindi or your own mother tongue, right? Whenever you are consuming English content in the form of reading, you are trying to imagine in English, and that is the form of thinking in English. So make sure that you read something every day. And of course, don't ever avoid writing. Literally, it is the most important thing I used to follow when I was learning English. Initially, I actually started speaking in English with the help of writing only. I was really not able to speak a single word. I was listening some other people and of course wanted to speak English like them, but I really did not know what to say and how to say. I was aware with sentences and grammar of course, but I really did not know what to do to speak in English. Then what I just started some different, writing some different stories. I started writing some different stories, and gradually I just continued writing some different moments of my life, what I want in my life to do in future, and some different past moment that happened with me, and some different scenarios I used to write. And of course, I used to imagine while writing something, as I've already shared with you in this video, that just try to imagine that you're speaking somewhere, you're speaking in front of people, and you're thinking in English. You're imagining means you're thinking in English, right? So I used to write with imagination that if I'm speaking somewhere, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say to explain my ideas? Writing is the important aspect which helped me so much. Yes, actually, in initial stage, I was not aware with listening or watching English content, but yes, because I really did not have phone. But I thought that if I don't have phone, I can give it a try with writing. Right? I can just write something in English. So I started writing. But as I got my phone, I started reading some different articles and watching English content or listening some English songs. So make sure that you surround yourself with English content more and more so that your subconscious mind can be active. Your subconscious mind can be habitual of English, and then only English language is going to be easier for you. And of course, do practice every day. Practice is so much important. Make sure that you are doing practice each and every day. This is also the important thing will help you to start thinking in English and to speak English fluently. Once you start thinking in English, little by little, it will increase if you continue practice, if you continue doing practice every day. Okay, so make sure that you continue with your English practice, and little by little you are avoiding doing translation over thinking in English. All right, and of course you all can speak. Just make sure that you follow these all steps which I have shared with you, that you surround yourself and start thinking in English, and don't do translation always. Of course, initially it is going to be a little harder, it a little difficult, but gradually it is going to be easier if you try to decrease the level, to try decrease the percentage of translation and start thinking in English. It is possible if you give it a try. Now it is all about how did I start thinking in English when I was learning English. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to let me know in the comment section. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Let's meet you in the next videos.